Imagine this. In a world long before ours, in the cradle of Western civilization, stood a man who claimed that the very soul of the universe was made not of earth, not of water, not even of air, but of fire. Not the fire of destruction, not the fire that burns down forests or consumes cities, but a sacred, eternal flame. A fire that dances between the stars, that breathes within all living things, that shapes the rise and fall of empires, that fuels the heartbeat of existence itself. His name was Heraclitus of Ephesus. The world remembers him as the philosopher of change, the man who said, "No one steps twice into the same river." But what the world has forgotten is that beneath these famous words lies a deeper truth. A vision of the cosmos as a living, breathing fire, a spirit that burns at the heart of all being, uniting opposites, weaving chaos into harmony, guiding creation and destruction alike. Tonight, we will walk into that flame, into the sacred fire of Heraclitus. And perhaps, like him, we will glimpse the spirit of the cosmos. Chapter 1. The Philosopher of the Flame. Heraclitus was not a philosopher who sought the company of many. He did not teach in the bustling agora of Athens, nor did he found a school like Plato or Aristotle. He was called the obscure, the weeping philosopher, a thinker who wandered alone by the banks of the Cayster River, shunning the applause of the masses, despising the empty debates of those who mistook argument for wisdom. To him, truth was not to be found in the noise of men. It was in the crackling of the fire, in the quiet rhythm of the river, in the ceaseless motion of the stars overhead. The soul of the universe, Heraclitus believed, was made of fire, but not merely physical fire. Fire to Heraclitus was a symbol, a process, a principle. It was the element that most perfectly reflected the Logos, the divine order, the rational principle that governs the cosmos. This was not the fire that destroys, it was the fire that transforms, the fire that burns away illusion, the fire that births stars and melts iron into shape, the sacred fire of life and death. Chapter 2. Fire and the Logos, the pulse of reality. This cosmos, the same for all, neither God nor man has made, but it always was, is, and shall be an ever-living fire, kindling in measures and going out in measures. These words, left behind by Heraclitus, carry the weight of a worldview unlike any other. The universe is fire but not chaotic flame. It is a measured fire, a rhythmic fire, a breathing fire. This fire is governed by what Heraclitus called the Logos. Logos, translated clumsily as reason, word, or order, is something far more profound. It is the law behind the fire, the hidden rhythm that keeps the cosmos from dissolving into madness. Fire becomes the perfect image of reality because fire is always changing, yet always itself. It consumes, yet gives light. It destroys, yet creates. It dances between opposites, holding together what seems irreconcilable. And so it is with life, with war and peace, with birth and death, with joy and sorrow. For Heraclitus, to understand the Logos was not to memorize doctrine, it was to observe the eternal flame that lives in the heart of all things. Chapter 3. War, Harmony, Tyranny, and the Unity of Opposites. War is the father of all things, the king of all. This statement shocked Heraclitus' contemporaries and still shocks us today. But Heraclitus did not mean that conflict is good or that violence is noble. He meant something deeper. In the dance of opposites night and day, life and death, hunger and satisfaction, it is the tension between forces that creates movement, life, existence. Without this tension, there is stagnation. Without struggle, there is no birth. Harmony is not the absence of conflict. Harmony is the balance of opposites in perpetual motion. Just as fire must consume to shine, just as rivers must flow against their banks to exist at all, so too does the cosmos rely on the ceaseless play of forces. Heraclitus saw this not as chaos, but as the most profound order. The logos behind the fire ensures that conflict does not consume the world but animates it. Peace without tension is death, but balance within struggle is life. Chapter 4. The River and the Fire. Change as the law of being. No one ever steps twice into the same river, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man. This is the most famous line of Heraclitus, often quoted, but rarely understood in its fullness. It is not simply about change, it is about transformation. Change is not the enemy. Change is the very nature of existence. The river is always flowing, the fire is always burning, but both remain themselves because of this motion, not despite it. To resist change, to cling to permanence, is to fight against the logos itself. But to embrace change not blindly, but with awareness, is to align with the spirit of the cosmos. Heraclitus teaches us that to live well is not to seek stability, but to ride the current of the river, to flow with the flame, to participate in the process of becoming. To fear change is to fear life. But to understand change is to understand the sacred fire. Chapter 5. The Soul as Fire, Inner Transformation. But Heraclitus did not stop at the stars or the rivers. He turned inward. The soul itself, he said, is fire, not metaphorically, essentially. The soul burns, hungers, transforms. It rises or falls in accordance with how well it tends its own flame. A dry soul, Heraclitus wrote, is wisest and best. What did he mean? A soul that is not soaked in pleasures or dulled by indulgence. A soul that burns clear and bright, focused, attentive, alive. The work of the philosopher, then, is not merely to think, but to tend the fire within. To keep the flame from being smothered by distraction. To burn away falsehood and illusion. To allow the sacred fire of the Logos to shape the soul into what it is meant to be. Conclusion: to listen to the flame. Heraclitus did not give us a system of philosophy. He gave us a vision, a way of seeing the world that calls us not to control the fire, but to listen to it. The sacred flame is not outside of you. It burns in the blood of your body. It crackles in the mind that questions. It dances in the breath of the living cosmos. The Logos is not a distant God. It is the rhythm of being itself. So tend your flame. Watch your river. Listen for the sacred voice within the fire. For as Heraclitus taught, the way up and the way down are one and the same. The path of transformation is the path of return, and the fire never dies. If this journey through the sacred fire of Heraclitus has stirred something within you, subscribe, share, and join me as we continue to explore the forgotten wisdom of the ancients. The fire waits for those who are ready to listen.